So after sending the first emails, which we saw in the previous video, there are two different parts to it. One is the follow up until the prospect replies, and the other one is reply and appointment setting. After the prospect replies, there is another AI agent that kicks off. It crafts the reply with the calendar appointment link using which the prospect can book an appointment. It saves to this Google Sheet. As you can see, these are the first emails sent, and it's also qualified. This is same as the previous workflow. Email subject line, and until the prospect replies here. Email 2, just wanted to check in regarding my last email about automating your lead management systems with N-item workflows, and then that is sent. The third follow-up here, at any point they can reply back. When that happens, this is marked as true, and post reply email kicks off. You send the calendar link in that reply email here. All of the interaction and the follow-ups and the replies from the prospect, everything is stored in this Google Sheet. Guys, welcome back to another video. This is an enhancement for our previous workflow, which I did a previous video for setting up first part until the follow-ups. So this was our first lead gen version. This finds the leads, creates personalized emails, and send those emails. But there is no follow-up mechanism or appointment setting framework here. So in our 2.0 version system, I've just rearranged this part to make a little bit more arranged. I've added this new portion to directly import any exports from Apify rather than go through this process here. Apify has changed their pricing structure. With your free credits, you cannot run Apify actors through API, but you can still run it through their web UI and download that to Google Drive. That's why I have this new portion here and prepare the data set. The flow is pretty much the same. Step 1 is preparing the leads data set either through the API or using Apify console and then importing that to a Google Sheet. Step 2 extracts information from your leads website and their LinkedIn page. Uses a personalization agent here, and that gets returned to that Google Sheet over there. And then it sends those first contact emails. That's where version 1 stops. Version 2, I have added the follow-up email sequence, which kicks off on a schedule here and see if they have replied, and if they have not, creates further emails and sends those emails and updates the Google Sheet. At any point in time, if they reply, it has a Gmail trigger, and that will check if it is a lead that has replied. If that is true, craft the first contact email using an appointment link, which can be a link, or you can change the instructions here. Right now I'm sending a cal.com link for setting appointments. You can find more complicated appointment setting sequences on YouTube, but that is the framework for finding leads, sending it, following it up, and replying, appointment setting. Any of these steps can be further enhanced to made custom to your own workflow, but that is the whole foundational framework. Let me go through the workflow in detail and show you how the thing works. The workflow is available in our school community, AI Makers. We have a bunch of workflows here: faceless videos, long form article writer, keyword research and topic clustering, Reddit product promotion. Ours is under lead generation, cold outreach. This is version 1.0. This is the version 2.0. Need to download it from here, clicking on the JSON and download that. And once that is done, go to your N8N installation, or if you're on the cloud version, go there and create a new workflow here. Once the canvas is loaded, click on these 3 dots here, import from file, select that lead gen workflow with follow-ups version 2.0 JSON, and that will load the workflow. Since I already have done this, I'm going to close that window over here and work on the already imported one. If you don't want to join the school community, you can always follow along the video and replicate the template. Watch my first video for sections until send first emails without the follow-ups. In the YouTube description, there will be a link to just the template without joining the school community as well, if you prefer that. But again, if you join the school community, you join like-minded individuals, you can ask for more support over there, and obviously you will have access to all the templates that I create and all the specific API endpoints that I create. Custom APIs, custom software that I release, they will also be available there. So just to refresh your memory, we are using this platform Apollo to get the URLs for the prospects. We are using this platform called Apollo, but we are not using it directly. We are using through a service called Apify, which is this service here. So to start off, you need an Apollo URL, which means that if you create an Apollo account, a free account, and go to people search and fill in all the details of founder, CEO, etc., who the people that you want to find. This is covered in full example in the first video, so check that out. I'm not going to repeat it, but just to give you a quick overview, you need this URL from the browser. Once this is all filled in to your liking, you will get this URL. And you don't need to create an Apollo URL and create an Apollo account. Instead, you can directly use the ideal customer profile creation agent. But if you want to fine tune it, you may need to create the Apollo account and get the URL from there. To create that URL, refer to that first video, how you can actually create that URL using the ideal profile agent, and then it'll give you a URL, or take the URL from the browser's address bar. And let me just show you the manual part here. On Apify, they have changed their pricing terms. You cannot run actors on Apify. They are called actors. To do these scraping jobs, you need to run one of these actors, and you cannot invoke them using their backend API service anymore if you have a free plan. So for that, you can create a free account on Apify. You get $5 credit. If you have more budget, go ahead and create a starter account. I think it's about $30 a month, and then you will be able to execute this portion. And for that, refer to that first video. Because some may need to avoid signing up for the account, especially when you're testing out, you'll have to run it. You'll have to paste that over there. If you have to spot the actor yourself, that is this Apollo Scraper actor. If you don't find them, you can just go to here, scrape up to this, the CodeCrafter Apollo IO Scraper, and then you can copy paste that URL from Apollo search browser, or the one that you get from our ideal customer profile creation agent. To run this, you merely select your total number of records required and run options. It can scrape up to 50k leads. To get the full number of leads, you'll have to change the total number. You won't give that if you want to get the full 50,000 leads. For our purposes, I'm just running 10 so that it give me 10 prospects. I've already run this. If you go to run, you can see that I've already run this Instagram Apollo scrape. And if I go to output here, I can see 10 records are present here. Once that is done, you can export that from here, and you select JSON here and download that. I'll get downloaded into our computer. In downloads, that will be that dataset JSON file. Once that is done, what I do is create a Google Drive folder, and I've created a folder called Apollo, and I've dragged that JSON into here. I've already done that. That's that file over there. And in our workflow, the first node is the schedule trigger. I just added it as a schedule trigger because you can add multiple trigger points. If I were to add manual trigger, you won't be able to add a second manual trigger. That's why I use schedule trigger. But you have to prepare the dataset once, and for that campaign, you don't have to run the step one, the preparing the dataset portion again. So to begin with, for this workflow, I have a second node here, Google Drive. Select your dataset IO Apollo. In the file from list, select from here and then select that JSON file that you've just uploaded to your drive. And resources file, make sure it is download. You don't have to change anything else. For Google Drive account, you will have to add the Google Drive API into your Google API console. That is this console.cloud.com here. You'll have to add that. I have this project here for anything N8N related dashboard, and you'll have to create. I've covered creating the credentials part and creating credentials for Google in a different video. So check that out, or just ask ChatGPT. You will get how to set it up, and GPT will guide you through it. Create a new credential here, and it needs to be that client ID and client secret needs to be added here. And that's that node configuration. When you will have to re-authenticate once that is added, and it will guide you through the process of going and select all the permissions and continue, and then connection is successful. And once that is done, you can enter the name of the file, copy the file name and paste that there, and then select that. Is that from list operation? The operation needs to be download. That is configured now. An extract from file, it reads the input binary data. So that downloads that JSON file here, and the output of that is sent to this node, which is an extract from file node. And the operation is extract from JSON. Of course, our file contains a JSON, and I'm just saying that put that output into this field here so you see what gets passed through these nodes. Execute workflow. The 10 items have been written, and if I go to my automation leads, I have those 10 items. The first row being the header row. So while testing, what I do normally is that I go to the email. While I'm testing, I replace all the emails with my own email, just so that I don't accidentally send that to the prospects. And I just copy the same thing and paste my email in all the records. Once it is set up, then you can run it once in. Removing that limit, then you will get all those results. It won't stop at 10. It will get all of the prospects. So now let me just go through the step 2 of personalization as well. Again, watch the first video to see how this is set up and sending first emails. Let me run this personalization step by clicking execute workflow. While that is running, let me just explain this limit node here. So I'm restricting the number of items that comes through. So in the beginning, it will read all the records here. You can limit that to 1 item while testing. That is what I'm doing here. You can deactivate it in production, but activate during testing. So now 1 record gets passed through and the website is read and personalized, etc. And if you look at our automation leads, the Google Sheet right now, you can see that email 1 has been populated and it's saying that the lead has been qualified. Julian, as a sales director of Bulldogs Marketing, is a perfect role to benefit from our N8N automations. And it gives, hi Julian, I noticed Bulldogs Marketing is rapidly scaling its sales efforts. Seamless CRM sync, automated follow-ups. So creates what is, it thinks of what N8N automations that you can send, but it doesn't need to be an N8N automation that you're selling to your prospects. It could be any product. And if it is suitable for their prospect, it will qualify it. So I'm also going to do the second one, which will send that email, personalized email. I also have a limit node here so that we don't process all the emails. Let me just again refer to our previous first. I need to select this override email during testing. Overriding email. I'm just going to set that to incloud.com. My email as well as a second security measure during testing. You can disable these two as well during production. Is sending the email, and if that is our email here, Bulldogs Marketing. Hi Julian. So that's the first email. Now I'm going to, so until here is explained in the first video, so check it out. So in here, I am going to send the follow-up sequence here. Let me just run that, the whole thing. Let's say if we have scheduled that to be run 2 days apart, that will be days here will be, okay, I have gotten the second follow-up now. Hi Julian, I hope you're well. I wanted to circle back to my previous note about how Bulldogs Marketing could benefit from N8N automation. We have seen sales directors save hours every week by streamlining CRM tasks. And if you have 10 minutes this week, I would like to share a quick success story from a peer. You can change the prompt. Doesn't need to be success story or anything like that. And let me just walk through the agent and the prompt and everything. So we have, for these follow-ups, we have the schedule trigger here. You can set it to like days between triggers, maybe every 1 day. The first node is Google Sheet. Connect to your Google Sheets account using add your Google Sheets API to your Google Cloud Console. Create new credential, add your client ID and client secret here. You can check our school community for this setup process as well if you want. The easiest thing to do is to ask how to get this client secret to ChatGPT. And this is a sheet within the document. We are reading from this Google Sheet here that we have just written our first emails to. And once that first email is sent, that is the email 1 send status is sent, marked as sent. And we are using email status is verified, and also we are checking email send status as sent, and replied needs to be empty, so that if the prospect has replied already for the first email or the second email, you don't necessarily have to do follow-ups anymore, but you'll have to do after the first contact, it is a warm email, and then you follow the next path here. So that is why we are checking replied is empty, and that goes under the filters option, and we are also selecting the sheet to read from that document. That is pretty much it. That Google Sheet node, limit node again for testing, you can disable that. Here we are once again scraping their LinkedIn and website. The LinkedIn scrape is not 100% because sometimes LinkedIn blocks fetch requests, but sometimes it works. But you can also use from Appify as well. There is a LinkedIn scraper actor. You can connect that to it, but I'm not bothered about it because it's going to scrape from the website here. Not all the websites again are readable, and I'm not very bothered about that. For some reason the website organization website is not coming through. So the website is not coming through because there's no website link here that is being extracted. I'm just going to copy the URL for for a random marketing agency and put it there so that you can see how that works. And I'm going to run it again. Now the follow-up agent is working. So if I come back to automation leads here, I also got an email after that. I know your schedule is packed. I will keep this brief. One quick thought: integrating AI-powered automations not only cuts down manual tasks, but also frees up your team to focus on high-impact strategies. We recently worked with another sales director who experienced significant time savings. You can change the prompt. So let me just go through the follow-up agent here. So the website is now scraped and it's now personalized using the agent as well. Just reads the website again. The prompt is pretty simple. So you are responsible for generating next email in the follow-up sequence, email to email 3. So I have a bunch of rules saying here when not to generate the next email. Do not generate email 3 if email send status is not empty. So if email 2 has not been sent, do not generate email 3. That's what it says. And if it is not sent, just pick email 2 as the next one to be sent. It will not regenerate it. It will just pick up the email 2 from the Google Sheet. How to determine the next sequence number? It should be sequence number of the next email to be sent. I'm not going to read the whole thing. There's a bunch of rules that the agent should follow, and it will come up with this output in this format: email 2, email to subject line, email 3 subject line. If you want more emails, we'll have to add more email columns in the Google Sheet here over here. Like so for us in this one, I have up to email 3. So you'll have to add email 3, email 4, email 5, etc. there, and also add that to the structured output parser here. So this one is the AI agent from AI. If you select AI and AI agent, that is that agent over there. And we have a O3 mini model. You can change it to a higher model if you want. And that outputs the data like this, if you can see that here. So next sequence number is 3. Because I executed this twice. Email 3. Let me just, email 3 send status is also sent. Let me just do one more. So that is now completed. And if I go to the output, it is email 2, and next sequence number is email 2. And in the user prompt here, I'm also passing the lead information and the whole of website text that we scrape from their website. And our offers, you can add your own offers here. I'm just saying AI automations that I am providing. So you can add your specific offers over there, change that prompt. That will give you the next email. So I have the quick question. That is the email again. And if I do that again, it will be email 3. If you see that here, that next sequence number is 3, email 3 subject line, etc. So now I've got email 3 as well here. And if you want to add email specific rules, what next emails to be sent, etc., you can add to this prompt here. Example of effective follow-up subjects, or you can just add it in the user prompt here. You can ask Claude to generate what sort of email are the best practices, email body best practice. If you can see here, output requirements, email body best practices, how many paragraphs it should generate, etc. You can add that here. Follow-up 2 or third touch, avoid generic numbered subjects like that. So you can add your own rules here. So once the agent runs, we are selecting if the sequence number here exists. If that exists and is greater than 1, it is to check if it has created email 2 or email 3 or follow-up emails. If that is true, I have this HTTP node here, and like we sent the first personal emails using a service called resend, we are sending the email again using that resend service. We have the from email here. So this would be your domain name that you have registered with resend. It could be any number of domains. Whatever domain you're trying to send the emails from, it could create multiple domains. And resend takes care of, refer to my first video, resend takes care of the multiple domains. And yeah, it's a good service to send multiple emails from different domains so that you can scale your email prospecting system. During development, you can use this onboarding.resend.dev address. And I'm selecting the email for the lead, which is my email, obviously. And then the subject and text is replaced into the body. So that will get evaluated to that. And it's an HTTP request that is the URL to send emails, and authorization will use your resend API key here. You simply sign up for resend.com. And finally, once that is sent, if the email send is successful, it generates an ID, and we are just checking the ID exists. And if that is true, we are updating the email using the email to match the record of the lead record, and we are updating our email 2 send status or email 3 send status. If you have more, email 4, email 5, you need to add those here as well and send the number to 3 from to 4, that'll be 4 in the newly added fields. What this does is pretty simple. If the next email in the sequence is number 2, it will mark it as sent. If it is not, it will just use the existing status. It is so that it doesn't overwrite. If it has generated email 3, it doesn't use that send status to write into email 2 send status. So it preserve the previous send status for the previous sequences. That is what that snippet does. And that's the follow-up sequence done. So let's have a look at this foundational piece here. What happens when they reply to one of these emails? So let me just reply to this here, maybe the latest email, and I can reply to that saying, can you tell me a bit more? And I'll send that, and that will land in my email, my inbox, which is in the send email with resend, which is this reply to email here. Whenever someone replies to any of these emails, that's where it ends up. Let me just execute this workflow here. It will read from my email. Probably need to re-authenticate it. Let me do that quickly. So email account, any Google API providers, Google API, any Google node, email, Google Sheet, Google Drive, same process. Create a new credential, add the client ID and client secret. And since I've already added it, reconnect it. That is successful. If I come back here, execute the workflow again. Now it's gone through. And then if I click on that while that is running, I can see that can you maybe wait for that to finish. That is running. Let's wait for that to finish. It's using these tools here to read the leads list. So now I've got another email. Let's check that. Hey Julian, thanks for getting back. Our automation specifically helps sales directors like you automating lead capture. So if you add more information about what your product does, it will create the email reply in such a way. I'll have it some other tailored example for a quick 15-minute call, and it is sending the appointment. And then you can add the post-appointment creation workflow as well in this workflow as well. There's a lot of options that you can do to streamline your outreach strategy here. So here it's saying seamlessly with your CRM and automating follow-ups based on your lead behavior signals. Again, in the prompt, you can say generate only one sentence replies. The shorter the message, better, at least in my experience. All that can be added into the rules here. I have a prompt here. So the reply part for this starts from a Gmail trigger. It listens to my Gmail and takes the last email that arrives. And it is run every 1 minute and event is message received. And our message comes through here. You can see snippet, can you tell me a bit more? And it has all the other information as well here. This is how they match. Subject, Julian, could AI automation boost your lead management? So it knows that which email the prospect has replied to. And it goes through another AI agent here. We are just saying it's pretty simple. You process prospect replies to outreach emails and generate appropriate responses. Core tasks, response guidelines. This is where you add your own guidelines. For me, I have a simple instruction to send my cal.com link and create email text body and address their specific concerns and questions. And you may need to add your own products here so that you have all the knowledge base for here. Just add it in. You don't need complex RAG or anything like that. Just copy paste your products like in the previous agent in one of these prompts here, either here or in the user prompt. It doesn't really matter. It has a GPT 4.1 mini model attached. Here it read the lead information from the automation leads Google Sheet using that tool. That's what it does. It crafts the response. So that sets this email replied state true. And it does a second call using the tool as well here, which is post reply email 1. That is our second email, the actual response email that will be sent after the first reply. And it is also calling the send email tool attached to it. Sends the subject is could AI automation boost your lead management? Hi Julian. So that is what that tool call is. That's how I get the email here. So you can see that's the subject that it matches to identify which email has been replied to. So that's how that reply portion works. Very simple. Again, you can do sophisticated stuff here, other fancy stuff here if you want it, but keeping it simple. This is the foundational structure. So that concludes our workflow, the follow-ups and reply agent, warm reply agent here. And this, again, everything is available in our Skool community, the templates and everything. If you don't want to do this, you can also use this video as a reference to create your own workflow. The deal with the Skool communities that you get extra support there. You have a bunch of few people that does the same thing there. It's a small community, but still growing. And I'll see you in there, or otherwise you can check out the template individually from the description. All the links are in the description below, and I'll see you in the next video.